I'm joined by Heidi Yetman, president of the Quebec Provincial Association of Teachers. Heidi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Quebec is making masks mandatory in classrooms for elementary and high schools in 9 regions of Quebec, including Montreal and Laval, something many parents and teachers associations and unions have been calling for. What is your reaction to this? Is this a positive step to keeping students and staff safe, in your opinion?
Absolutely. We've been asking for masks. So yes, it's a step in the right direction to have masks in the classrooms, especially in regions where the cases are high.
Quebec is also saying it's going to introduce rapid testing in schools to avoid outbreaks and long-term closures. Do you think that's feasible? They say it's a work in progress. So what do you think about that?
Well, we've been asking for rapid tests for quite some time, actually, since last year. So we're quite happy to see that. It is a work in progress. That is a little bit concerning because it should be organized and ready to go. And the fact that it's very unclear how this is going to go ahead is concerning.
Vaccine passport is going to be enforced for high school students to take part in extracurricular sports. Do you think that's the right step? Do you think that's a good idea to be implementing this?
So the passport will be for students who are participating in high contact sports. I think it's a good step forward. I think it's important. What is unclear is for schools that have programs like Sport Études, how is that going to work? So there's still a lot of questions about that. We still haven't seen the list of activities. So again, it's still unclear. Clarity is really important. Without clarity, there's uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, we have people that get pretty anxious. So I wish it was a bit more clear. Hopefully we'll get directives soon.
Now, I know there have been many changes regarding the back to school. Are you satisfied with Quebec's plan? It's the end of August already, and it seems like much of the details still aren't fully worked out. So how do you see the year coming, the school year ahead?
Well, I'm glad to hear about the masks in certain regions. I think that's a step forward. I am worried about the fact that there aren't any bubbles in elementary in particular, because 12 and under are not vaccinated. I would have liked to have seen bubbles being returned so that we can really trace the cases. I think that's another thing that's very unclear. What happens when there's an outbreak? Still very unclear. What happens if one student in a class that is masked has COVID? What happens? Still unclear. What happens if a student in a class that is not masked has COVID? So there's still a lot of things that are very, very unclear. Dr. Arruda said today that this time last year, there were less cases. So that is really concerning that we're going into the school year with more cases than we had last year, and yet we're going into the school with less sanitary measures. So I still have a lot of concerns, especially for the elementary level.
Thank you so much for joining us, Heidi.
It was a pleasure.